Remember, someday you will all die. It's gonna happen, maybe right now.
Hey internets, so this may surprise some of you, but Kamala Harris and Tim Walz memes do in fact exist. And they are, well, something else. Now admittedly, there's not very many of them, as I guess Harris's campaign hasn't really attracted the best in terms of memesmith, but it is entirely possible to track these memes down. And it's worth doing because the Kamala Harris memes reveal something very interesting about her campaign, primarily the type of people who are being bamboozled by it, which is probably why most of these memes all come from mid-witted echo chambers, which really shouldn't surprise anybody, I guess. So what I'm gonna do in this video is go over some of these memes, point out the various issues with them, and see if you, while watching this video, can spot the same pattern in these memes that I have noticed, which reveals a very big problem with the Harris-Walz voter base. So let's get started with this meme. Timoste! Oh boy, the peace within my soul recognizes the peace within yours. How is that even really a meme? I mean, it's posted in Kamala Harris memes, so I guess it's a meme? And it's got some updoots. I mean, I guess if you consider positive affirmations or whatever to be the same thing as a meme, I mean, I guess if it just gives them good feels, then sure, it qualifies as a meme, technically. But what exactly is this meme telling us about Tim Walz? What exactly is it saying about the campaign? Basically nothing. So it's pretty stupid, but on the other hand, also pretty harmless. Let's just move to the next meme. Okay, and here we have Harris in front of the Trump Titanic. I mean, I guess I can see how someone who really likes Harris and really doesn't like Trump could find this funny. But beyond that, the meme doesn't really say anything beyond Harris is going to stop the evil Trump. It's not really telling us anything about why they dislike Trump, or why they like Harris. It's not making any kind of specific joke about any kind of specific objective truth about either candidate's positions. Now admittedly, there's some Trump memes out there that look like this, so you can kinda give it a pass, so long as it's not really part of any consistent pattern, which, spoiler alert, it is. But let's just move on to the next meme. Okay, the real debate is between Harris and Project 2025. Alright, so now we can kinda get into some real meat here, because the meme is not so much a meme as it is just fear-mongering, and saying that the choice is between Harris and the dastardly Project 2025. Now, Project 2025 is one of those subjects that could easily get its own video all on its own. But since this is a meme video, here's a quick rundown. First off, it's not some secret underground evil plan that the GOP has come up with, but rather Project 2025 is something that anybody can read about on their own webpage. And it's primarily the brainchild of the Heritage Foundation, so it's not actually Trump's official position on anything. This is a major conservative think tank, so there's going to be some overlap, and many of the people involved will have some influence on the Trump administration if it wins. But it's technically not the same thing as Trump's actual policy positions. But that of course does not stop the liberal media from cherry-picking what they view as the worst parts of Project 2025 and then pinning it on the Trump administration. The TLDR of it is that libs and leftists now have this interesting guilt by association fallacy, where they view this plan as some kind of evil, Nazi underground plot to take over the United States. It's really not, and I'll be making a video about what specifically is in here and what's good about it and what's bad about it later, in a more serious tone, but the basic gist of it is that this meme is just fear-mongering and really nothing else. It's all based on a bad faith interpretation of something thought up by a conservative think tank, and the proof that it is secretly Trump's agenda is all based on associations at best. So once again, the meme doesn't really tell us much, other than the fact that leftists are afraid of something that isn't really that big of a deal. And once again, it definitely doesn't tell us anything about anything that Harris believes, or stands for, or has any kind of policy positions on. So let's move on to the next meme. Alright, so here we have Kamala creeping up behind Trump after the Biden debate win. Now this is admittedly a little funny, but probably not for the reasons the person who made it thinks it is. They're basically glad about the fact that the Democratic Party decided to dump Biden, after it was revealed that Biden was indeed in cognitive decline and just wasn't up for a second term. But this just completely ignores the fact that they all chose Biden in the primaries. And so what's really funny about this is it just shows that DNCPs really don't actually believe in democracy at all. They are perfectly fine if their elites decide to dump the guy that they all wanted to go with, so long as it improves their chances of stopping Trump. And once again, it displays the pattern that I've been alluding to. You see, none of the Kamala memes actually say anything objective about her policy position, rather instead just showcasing terminal TDS. All Kamala memes are is just about vibes, and weirdness, and positive affirmations. Nothing about what she actually plans to do for the country to actually fix any of the problems with the United States. And certainly nothing about how she is going to improve people's liberties, because of course she's not actually going to do that. This is in very stark contrast to Trump memes, which often alluded to things like building the wall or draining the swamp. And while Trump did a very poor job of draining the swamp, a very, very poor job, and only just partially built the wall, Trump supporters at least have some kind of of idea for Trump's plan for the country. Because Donald Trump, unlike Kamala Harris, actually tells people what it is. Yep, that's right, as I'm making this video, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, still on their main campaign website, have no policy positions and no detailed plan on what they actually plan to do. Instead, the entire campaign is being run entirely on pure emotion. I've been listening to some of Harris and Walz's campaign speeches every now and then, just sort of in the background, and they'll just kind of waffle on about how they're going to help American families. But then they don't actually go into any kind of specific details on what exactly they're going to do. There's no praxis to their campaign whatsoever. It's all pure 100% fluff. And the comical result of this is that Harris-Walz voters have absolutely no idea what they're actually voting for, other than just stop the big bad orange man. And this complete and total cluelessness over to what they're actually supporting is fully noticeable in the memes that this community generates. Just go on the Kamala Harris memes Reddit page. This pattern can be seen ad nauseum. No, seriously, every single meme that they can come up with can be categorized as either A, orange man bad, B, positive affirmations and good feels, or C, just random nonsense about whatever. There's just nothing really tangible here about what Harris and Walz actually plan to do. If you're looking for any memes about actual planned policy, ideology, or for them to shine some light on an ideological belief that they have, or some epistemology, or even just a basic philosophical truth, well, you're just not going to find that. It's like they're generating these memes using AI based on Trump memes from 2016, minus any kind of objective measure of policy proposal. In fact, I decided to try that out myself, and ended up with this meme. Put it side by side by what supposedly passes for a Harris meme, and it's really not that far off. Minus, of course, the AI text babble. Not that it really makes any kind of difference in this particular case. I mean, if anything, the AI meme right here is actually funnier. At least it has some nonsensical comedy to it, as opposed to the other, which is just blatant virtue signaling. About mug glass ceiling. The closest thing I could find about an actual policy position is this meme right here, which is a combination of orange man bad, orange man to belong in jail, and no longer taxing tips, which is a good policy position, by the way. Tips obviously should not be taxed. Not that it really matters, since obviously Harris isn't actually going to put this policy proposal into action. But anyway, this pattern of total cluelessness about any kind of real policy continues as we go through more and more of these memes. Like this meme right here, where it's just a sign showing Kamala, obviously. Why should you vote for Kamala? Well, because the Maggots are evil newtsies and are not popular enough. What's Kamala actually going to do once she's the president? Who knows? Doesn't matter. Orange man bad. Orange man a big bad duck. MAGAs are big bad newtsies. Also Dr. Seuss with a MAGA hat on it for some reason. And of course, more orange man bad. And then again, on the flip side, we have memes like this one. It's just laugh. That's it. That just counts as a Kamala Harris meme. It just says laugh. That's the meme. No joke. No punchline. And again, of course, nothing about Kamala Harris's plans or policies. Did you just look at the meme, don't ask questions, and laugh? No, seriously, this is the level we're dealing with when it comes down to Kamala Harris memes. And then, even more ludicrous, the reason why you should laugh is because it pisses people off, apparently? No, it doesn't. I mean, unless you're actually just laughing out of spite, which is probably what this meme actually is. And if so, that's not really a meme, that's just being petty. But seriously though, these people don't actually have any idea what it is they're actually voting for. Harris and Walz have made an active effort to avoid answering any serious questions about the plans they have for their future administration. Instead, again, they're just going by the basement strategy. All of their appearances are either controlled appearances that they have full say over, such as their campaign rallies, or appearances with friendly press as opposed to anybody who's actually going to push them on the serious issues and call them out for the fact that, again, they haven't actually put forth any serious policy proposal. And the result of this is quite possibly the biggest piece of evidence that Brian Kaplan and Hans-Hermann Hoppe were right about democracy all along. You see, many of our elites will say that they believe in democracy, but if you look at what they actually do and how they practice things, and how they go about their strategy, and how they form political allies, and how they influence various intellectual institutions, it becomes pretty obvious that many of our elites are fully aware of the flaws of democracy, namely that rational voters are a myth. Voters do not vote based on any kind of real rational decision that they would make with their own money. Rather, instead, voters tend to view it as somebody else's money. There's also very solid evidence that shows that voters mainly make their decisions based on emotional feel-goodisms, as opposed to any kind of true logical understanding or factual basis. And the campaign of Harris and Walz is just providing an excellent example of this. They are showing that it is entirely possible to run a campaign based purely on vibes and feels, so long as you have the mainstream media to back you up on it. They can get away with not telling their voters what they are actually voting for, because they do not need to tell voters what they are actually voting for, because voters don't actually care. And many of our elites are fully aware of this fact, and have learned to actively use this fact in their favor to form a strategy on how to psychologically manipulate the masses. And yes, it is very stupid. Oh boy, is it very, very very stupid. But NPCs are also stupid, and therefore this propaganda works. Hence why garbage memes like this one tend to get thousands of upvotes. The propagandized plebiters don't actually need to know what it is they're voting for, and for obvious reasons it is more advantageous to the DNC elites that they continue to have no idea what it is that they're voting for. That's just how brainwashing works. And where we can really see this is in these memes about weirdness, where all they're really doing is just calling the MAGAs weirdos. And that's it. No punchline whatsoever. They're just weird. No joke, just straight up ridicule. And portraying people that they don't like as inhuman freaks. And while it's all, again, very stupid, guess what? It works. Because again, NPCs don't care about logic and facts. They don't actually care about policy positions. They do not need to know or understand these things. They just need good feels. They just need to be made to believe that they are on the side of the cool kids, and not on the side of the weirdo incels. And so what we are seeing here is that all of these Harris and Walz memes are really just mirroring the propaganda that these people have been fed, ridiculing Trump and Republicans by calling them weird, while focusing on emotions and good vibes and whatever, while very carefully avoiding going into any real specific details on what plans they have for the country. Well, that's all just part of Kamala Harris's campaign strategy right now. And honestly, you gotta hand it to DNC strategists. It's brilliant. They've figured out that democracy is a sham. They'll never admit that, of course, but their strategy proves that they know it, because they've figured out that all they have to do to win votes is to create their own low-information voters by not telling their voter base anything. And that way they can just use standard appeal to emotion and propaganda techniques that tend to appeal to low-information voters. And that's why Kamala Harris memes tend to, well, lack any kind of information. The lack of humor regarding any of Harris's policy or ideology, or the fact that these memes all possess a complete and total lack of anything that alludes to or represents specific ideas or any details at all on Harris-Walz's plans for the direction of the country, is not a bug with these memes. It's a feature. Anyways, that's all. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And if you really enjoy my content, you can support me on either Ko-Fi, Subscribestar, or by buying some merch. I've also decided to finally enable channel memberships for the people who want to be able to use dank emotes in the comments. So yeah, that is now a thing. Enjoy. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Till next time.